Peace and love, y'all. It's your brother A.D.V.I.S.S back with another installment of more interviews, aka memoirs of our real experiences. And for today's interview, we have a great poet and writer by the name of Demetrius Ford, aka Poet.D Collection, coming to us for today's more interview. So before I bring the brother in and everyone else, if y'all have any questions or any comments, please put them down in the comment section. And if you want to ask a question, please share it and put it in the comment section so we can add it throughout the interview. But before I bring the brother in, here's a bit about the brother, and then we're going to continue to get started with it. So, Demetrius Ford is a poet, spoken word artist, actor, author, recording artist, and jewel designer whose creations are celebrated worldwide. He is the curator of the Poet.D Collection, a multifaceted collaborative that serves as a vessel for the branches of his brand. The Verbal Riffs project features verbal riffs, a book of poetry, prose, and spoken word. Men of Steel, the first single under the project, Negritude, the next single releasing soon. Separate from the project mentioned, Demetrius is releasing a deep house lounge song titled Getting It In over the weekend. He has received critical acclaim for his performances with the Philadelphia Songwriters Project, the ASCAP Showcase, and the Philadelphia Songwriters Summer Series. If you want to check this brother out, go to poetdcollection.com. But with that being said, we'll go ahead and I'm going the brother Demetrius Ford, aka Poet.D Collection. And what's going on?
Oh, hey. 1 second. I have to turn the screen.
Yes.
Yeah, I am.
There you
How you doing?
go. Living
All
and
right.
learning, brother. Good to see you in here, man.
You too, man. Thank you for having me this evening.
I appreciate you reaching out and, again, sharing your art with me so that I can selfishly go ahead and share it with others.
Cool. Thank you.
Yes, but before we get started again, y'all, if y'all don't know who this is Demetrius Ford. I read off a little bit about him. But, of course, this is what the interview is about. You're going to learn even a bit more about him. If you want to go ahead, go follow this brother. Go check out poetdcollection.com as well as on Spotify. I'll add all these links later, and I mean he'll share more of all his social medias that you can go and follow him at as well. But that's who we have for today for this interview. So before we start, brother, is there any questions, comments, or concerns or things you want to share with me or with everyone who's coming in?
Again, I would like everyone to know that Men of Steel is a single that's out there and to please support it. It's about us black men. And just keep an ear out and an eye out for more of the Verbal Riffs project. So I will identify what comes out, with associated with the name Verbal Riffs. So it's not just a book and then recordings. Also shooting a video for Men of Steel, and then I'll just see what I'm going to do with the rest of the project. It's what I want it to be is an ongoing project, not something I just drop, and then that's it. So it's an ongoing project so that people can enjoy it and get to understand it and get to know me as an artist.
Very dope. Any other things you want to share?
That's it. We could, roll into the interview.
Yes. And shouts out to Brown Girl Interrupting. I see you in here. Peace and love to you, sister. Thank you for coming through. And if you have any questions, anybody in here, please throw them down in the comments for the brother Demetrius Ford if you have any questions to ask throughout the interview. But with that, I mean, first thing before we get started, how are you doing this evening?
Great.
That's what I'm talking about. Now, first question for you. For those who do not know you, this is their first time experiencing you and trying to, figure out who you are. Tell us a bit about your background and yourself.
Well, I am. Let me see. So I started writing in 2000, say like 2000, 2002.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had went to my first venue release, and then I put out my first book of poetry in 2003 titled The Lull of My Spirit. And that was a stepping stone and definitely a learning curve because I had just came on the scene. And so like I said, when venues, I got seasoned as a spoken word artist.
Yes.
And actually, the project Verbal Riffs will contain some of the material from the first book, The Lull of My Spirit. And but it's not just going to contain that material; it's the actual performance version, my actual performance version of
Mm.
certain poems that I am because those are that's my my signature poems. What I'm known by, what I'm known well by, and not only that, poems don't die, poems don't get old, poems don't retire. People do.
Mm. Mm.
Okay. So I would never stop performing my poetry, and again, so certain pieces is the actual full length, the way that I actually used to perform them on stage with a
Okay.
live band. So everything's typed out, and again, just I began doing jewelry, making jewelry, which is my piece that I'm wearing right now, and
Mm.
my jewelry. My website is poetdcollection.com, and also that's my IG, Poet D Collection, and I make all kinds of jewelry, fashion jewelry, women's, men's, teenagers, kids. I like working with gemstones, but I do all kind of beads. My main thing is doing beads, and I really like working with gemstones. And what I'm wearing here is oxbone batik, oxbone and coral,
Mm.
and this is a jade stone, jade centerpiece. And so this is my own
Nice.
creation right here, my own design. Everything snaps right back in place. So this isn't gonna pop. Goes right
Wow.
over your head. Yeah. So um again, my website is poetbcollection.com. And then also I'm releasing my first house single, and my first house single titled Getting It In over the weekend is something that I've always wanted to do with my poetry. So I've always wanted to branch out and not just be in a box and
Yeah.
just, poetry, spoken word is what I do, and that's it. And then write books, that's it. So, but I've always been interested in doing more with my music as I performed with live bands. So I'm getting the
Mm.
opportunity to do that with this deep lounge house track titled
Okay.
"Getting It In" over the weekend. So, Men of Steel, which is out right now, that single out is being produced by DJ Payne One in collaboration with Dirt Boy Productions and Dreamlight. And so they did the music for that. And Men of Steel is available on all digital platforms. You just type in Men of Steel. You have to type in Men of Steel Demetrius Ford because there's a lot of Men of Steels out there. And so also on YouTube, you can pull up Men of Steel on YouTube and listen to the entire track if you're not with the other streaming sites such as Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Apple Music. It's on all of those title. It's on all those platforms, SoundCloud, so Deezer and more. So, but you can always pull it up on YouTube and listen to the entire track. And then also, don't stop there. You can type in Demetrius Ford with natural selection, or you can type in Demetrius Ford words are, and you'll also get a live end concert with a live band and concert video. And then also there's the Art of True Woman. If you type that in, the Art of True Woman, which is on a jazz compilation titled My Jazzy Soul. So all of those are available to hear on YouTube.
Hmm. So appreciate you sharing all of that. And I mean, there's a lot I was going to get into that later, which I mean, I will still bring a lot of those things up. But
Mhm.
I wanna ask a little bit. You told us a lot about your art and as an artist. So I have two questions that's come to mind after that beginning. You already got to give us some of those beginnings, but the next question I have for you is, how long did it take for you to realize your potential as a poet and an artist?
So it wasn't something that I planned. It's not something that I seeked out. to specifically write poetry, I actually was soul searching, and I was soul
Mm.
searching because how I began doing that was I was married and I'm divorced, and so during the time where the marriage was had gotten bad, um, we I did do some writing then. I did some writing then, and writing out my feelings. I wasn't really associating it with poetry or anything. It was just me just writing out my feelings, just something that I was doing.
Mm.
And but eventually we did separate and divorce. And when that happened, I just had an opportunity. I mean, I was single again, and I could have just party. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have women coming left and right, and I just didn't want to do that. I had no desire to do that. I really had a desire for a purpose, my purpose. And
Mm.
so instead, what I've always been into holistic. So with that, being into holistic, um, I had was it was just crazy because I was writing these screensavers at work,
Mm.
and a couple noticed them, a husband and wife. She noticed it, and then she asked me where was I getting it from. And so I told her, oh, it's my screensavers, little messages that I'm writing. So she was like, write something, fully out. And I did that. And so
Mm.
that's when I wrote Under Their Parents' Wing. So during that time, um, I was, like I said, I was soul searching. I was doing some praying, and I just began writing more. And when she told me to do that, to write something for like a full piece, a full poem, she's like, "You writing poetry?" I'm like, "No, no." She said, "Yes, you are. It's just quotes."
Mm.
I did it, and I wrote this piece titled "Under Their Parents' Wing." And then I wrote another piece titled "Negritude," and I wrote another piece titled "Let There Be."
Mm.
And then I wrote "The Art of True Woman." So opportunities came, and I went to um, the bookstore with a friend of mine to support another friend of hers who was performing,
Yeah.
uh, she was doing acoustic folk singer, and there was advertisement for Omar Tyree, who and I really didn't know who Omar Tyree was. I wasn't into reading books, big into reading novels, even though
Yes.
I am a actor from my major theater in school was acting, but I only read when I had to.
Oh.
and but no, I did. I also was straight A's in English. But anyway, I I went back to see him, and once I read his bio, I went back to see him. When I went back to see him,
Yes.
um, a group of poets was performing, and then when I walked in, his table was sitting there, and his table was a whole lot of books. And then that's when eventually he came in. So I'm looking at this young brother sitting at the table with all these books around him, and the bug just got me, and that's what I wanted to be, sitting at a table with books around me. I just had that
Mm.
feeling, and then I took part in the open mic, and those some female poets was there. They like what I did. They told me to come to their venue, and that's how I actually learned to do spoken word.
Mm.
Yeah, and so yeah, that's just really how it came about. And I just, as I said, when I write. I always say I was soul searching, so I was given a poet's spirit. That's what I was given, and so that's what I do. So whenever I write what comes from the God above, tells me to write about.
Comes from that
And then, of
source.
course, certain material. And then there's, of course, I have fun as well. you know, but yeah, it's been something that it's a part of me. I love it. I found out that's my purpose. That was my purpose of reaching the masses. And again, through words that blessed words that come from my mind and come out through my fingers.
And I definitely say from what I've gotten to hear and see from your profile as well as listening to Men of Steel, I gotta listen to some others that you have. You definitely have a very strong voice that has a very that undertone is I love the flow of it as well as the words. They just hit with an impact each time you speak. So it definitely connects and you are on that soul searching that you've been doing. You definitely have hit right onto it when it comes
Yeah.
to your art. At least, again, from my perspective.
Yeah.
We got a question down here. Good, yes. All right, because I was about to ask another one, but let's continue. Let's see. It says the question we got right now from Brown Girl Interrupting is, what do you hope your readers or listeners get from your work? And that is a question I had earlier, but I had later, but we're gonna go ahead and do it now. So what are some?
Well,
Yeah.
well, I guess from my work is I hope that it sparks conversation. It definitely it sparks conversation, and that the message what people get is what each person gets. Something different from it. In reality, So the thing is just is to get the message, the strong message, understand the subject matter, what I'm talking about. Um, and again, just support. You have to hear the poetry to support the poetry.
Mm-hmm. Very true. Mm. And speaking of that, gonna rewind back a bit and get into the younger version of Demetrius and tell us a little bit of who was Demetrius as a child growing up.
So me as a child growing up was my first talent that I showed was drawing. Two talents was drawing and doing impressions.
Hmm.
And so so as a child I was always into arts in some kind of way. I always say that I was born an artist. And so it's that's what I expressed. And so while other boys, they did sports, I created stuff. I was always creating something,
Hmm.
in my head. So I mean, of course, there were sports and fun, fun times, whatever, family, and friends, but that was the talent that I think defined me as, again, as I would say, born an artist. So from there, I began doing some theater, some acting and theater. Say like it started in day camp, and then
Hmm.
it went to school, and it went to winning some school talent show contests, and I actually was art major, so I was
Okay.
art major in high school, and I did half a year. So for my 12th year, I did a half a day of school, and then I did the other half at it was called Society Hill Playhouse. So I did the other half at the youth theater at Society Hill Playhouse,
Hmm.
and that again. So yeah, just creative, artistic as a child.
Okay. Creative, artistic as a child. The CAC. I love it. I love it. I love it. Throughout that time as well, too. What obstacles in your life, and this can be past, present, and we don't have to speak in, into the future if not. What obstacles in your life have made your writing sharp? If you want to share a few that have helped your writing become sharp.
So that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting question. All right, it becomes sharp. Um, I don't do any workshops or practices or anything like that.
Yeah.
I just write.
Mm.
And yeah, I just write. So with me, okay, so I have double brain trauma. So I have double brain
Mm.
trauma. So right now, what's making my writing sharp is me actually getting into the IG lives and taking part in the IG lives and reading. That has helped me a lot to really get back on track. And I would say to get back to where I am, even with doing interviews. But yeah, I was doing a lot of IG lives that got in the rooms, reading, listening to the other poets. Um,
Mm.
and then also too, because I was learning to overcome to to because I will slur some words, mispronounce some words, something like that. Even though that's not the word I want to say, but hey, that's what comes out.
Yeah.
And just learning how to work with that, and when that happens, and when it happens when I'm reading, when it happens if I'm doing a live performance. So me actually, yeah, it's just with me having this brain trauma and wanting to continue
Yes.
to write, to perform, because I really thought I wasn't. I thought I wasn't at all. Um, and so the brain trauma was from two separate car accidents, one long
Oh.
time in the 90s, and then another one actually was in 2014. And that's when I found out about that I had brain trauma all along from the first time, which I
Mm.
never knew about. So, which is kind of crazy, but yeah. But how would you know anyway? you know. So, so yeah, that's what I'm dealing with now, and then that's just how I stay sharp. Facebook Lives, I've gotten into basically, I was just say I've gotten into the writing community, which is
Mm.
something, and gotten more involved, which is something that I really didn't do before that. You know.
Mm. And
Yeah.
I appreciate you being open and sharing about, that the obstacles and especially the brain trauma and, adding to that how you thought that would be, it'll be the final, but just really pushing through and pushing forward and again, keeping yourself sharp through, you know, tapping in with a lot of the poets and being on interviews, whether also on lives, Facebook and things to constantly just keep improving and pushing yourself. So I commend you on that. And shoot, I'm
Thank you.
I'm grateful again to have you here for you to be able to be sharing that with others. Could also give them motivation to, even if things get hard and get very tough and you feel that that's it, there's always going to be some way to push you back forward to help you not only get sharp but really push forward with what your soul is searching as well as your
Mhm.
purpose.
Right. And it also makes me I have to really make sure that I understand what I'm saying,
Mm.
And if and yeah, so it's just really being more um it's got me more aware and more focused, yeah, in my writing.
Mm. And speaking about writing, because then I know this is a thing that folks sometimes have either good time with, struggle, have a difficult time, or they just have it just like that. uh How do you deal with writer's block, if that is a thing for you, and heavy emotions?
I don't deal with writer's block. Writer's block is just I write a lot. I write um notes on the phone. You know what I mean? Little bit of stuff. Sometimes, hey, I might sit there and write a whole thing. Sometimes I might not. I might just write just a little bit of something, a little bit of something here, a little bit of something there. Quotes. I do a lot of quotes. I would say people should try that, and I think that would help people as far as having writer's block. But
Mm-hmm.
writer's block to me, that's like that. That's means that you're forcing. You're looking for a way to force a write, and I
Mm.
don't. I never would force a write.
Mm.
A writing when I'm writing something, whatever. I never force a poem. Um, Never force the subject matter, because is it really what you it's going to change.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's going to change. But yeah, I don't do that. I don't get into the whole writer's block thing. Um, it's just the way it is. I think I have enough material written to go back, pick up on, um, and come across something. Lately, what I'm doing is I'm coming across poems because I don't remember that I wrote them.
Mm.
And so, because there was memory loss with it. There's a memory loss. Whole thing. I've been. It's a process of living with this, and
Yes.
so really just having no idea. When I'm looking on my flash drives that I even wrote this, and I'm looking at the piece and it's a whole piece or something like that. But yet you at the same time you can always take something that you've written something here there, and then you
Yes.
can apply it to something else. So a lot of time writer's block is probably right there what you already have you know but a
Mm.
person who writes, they just write whole pieces, they write whole pieces, I can understand that. But again, that's just not something that I get caught up in. If a whole piece flows, it flows. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Because if it flows, I'm going to come back to it anyway.
Yes.
You know,
Mm.
and revise it. And revise it and revise it. I have to learn how to leave. My thing is learn how to leave a poem alone.
Oh
You know?
man,
Yeah,
the infamous revisions of
yeah,
revisions to
yeah.
finally do I put it out or wait, I need one more revision.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're on that path of, figuring out as you go. I think that goes in line with too, figuring out what your whole creative process is as well as,
Hmm.
your workflow and being able to really pick those pieces and put it together to be like, okay, after I've written to this certain amount, okay,
Hmm.
just relax. Versus, and then we'll come back to it if it's in my soul or in me to just want to go back and fix another thing, then it will happen. If it isn't, then
Hmm.
just let it be. But
Right.
in that particular case, I know you said earlier that you just write really what just comes to mind and what just happens and what flows from the higher power and things from outside of there. But if you were to be able to explain it to people, what is a little, or at least give a little bit more in depth of what is your creative process and how do you get into your workflow when creating?
It just comes. Again, it just comes. So yeah, it's something. It just comes if it's meant for me to write again, just to write it out. It's meant for me to write it out.
Yeah.
If it's not meant for me to write a certain subject matter about a certain subject matter, even though I thought about it, even though that's okay, yeah, I want to write about this, but it just might not be for me to write. So
Mm,
again, it happens at different times of the day. You
okay.
know, it can happen while I'm home at the computer, and while I'm home, and then I have my laptop. It can happen while I'm traveling to work. It can, on my phone. It can happen while I'm at work on my phone. One of the things I do like to do is if I really want to get into just say, okay, yeah, I do might want to get like deep, like a little deeper in my mind, whatever. I will put on some music. I will
Okay.
put on some music, and I like some smooth grooving music, um, even like some instrumental. It depends what it is, but it would be like some jazz, like some smooth jazz, something like that. Um, yeah, you know.
Okay.
And I will do that. But other than that, it really just I guess I may be a boring I may have a boring process. I may have a boring process because I just do it. Yeah. And
No,
then
you
I
yes.
have to write things every time, like here, there. I need to even do it more often than what I'm doing, even more, because I will forget it so fast. I'll lose it so fast.
Mm. Hey, there's nothing again boring about your process and stuff. It's your process. And
Hmm.
it's I like to ask the question to not only bring in people to see wherever you are that you create how you go about doing it because people will find things either very similar that they do or they
Hmm.
might pick up something what might try it if some like you said if it just comes to you maybe they'll be like what if I ever get that random feeling when I'm
Hmm.
even going to the grocery store I'm gonna do that just because I remember that Demetrius talked about that's what just comes to him and vice versa. So you never know who is not just only listening, but will give it a
Hmm.
try. But I'll say sometimes that happens to me very similarly too. I'll be at work and then just something comes in and I just go with it. So
Right.
it doesn't matter what space I'm in, but when I want to get structured, yes, there's certain things that I will do. So no, I appreciate you sharing your process. Regardless, it's not well to me, it's not boring.
Right.
And speaking of possibly some boring stuff, I am moving to a segment that I like to call before we come back and talk a bit more about your different projects that you've already spoke about, but get a little bit more in depth in them. I like to
Hmm.
go and I have a segment called Fun Questions. And it may be fun to me may not be fun to y'all, or it might be boring again to y'all, but it's fun for me, where I literally just ask questions and I have
Mhm.
scenarios of whatever have came to mind that I got from having for you for this interview. So if anybody else is here too, please, you're more than welcome to also join this segment of fun questions. Again, it may be fun for me. I don't know if it's fun for you, but just know you can write them down in the comments, as well as if y'all have more questions, please put them down in there and we'll add them still as we're going in the interview. But let's get started with these fun questions, at least for me.
Okay.
All right. So the first thing I like to do with the fun questions is I like to ask a would you rather. So I'm gonna repeat it. I'm gonna repeat it twice, and then you just give off whatever it is. There's no right or wrong.
Okay.
So, would you rather be the first person to explore a planet but have to stay on that planet permanently, or be the inventor of a drug that cures a deadly disease but makes no money from it? I'm gonna do it one more time. Would you rather be the first person to explore a planet but have to stay on that planet permanently, or be the inventor of a drug that cures a deadly disease but make no money from it?
It would be the disease, but make no money from it.
Why is
Yeah.
that?
Well, I mean, it would be for mankind. So it would be for, what I mean, so it would be for the better, for the health, for the continuation of mankind. So if I could stop a disease from wiping out, you know, people, we see what COVID has done.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, so yeah, yeah.
Mm, I
That's like that's
appreciate
yeah
it.
that's like a no brainer. Yeah, because I watch too many. I watch too many horror movies to be the first person on the planet exploring it. That ain't going
Ah,
to happen.
oh man, yes, there it is. If y'all have some too, put them down. You rather be on the planet, explore it, but you gotta be there permanently, or would you want to create something to save people, or not get no money from it? But I feel you on that.
Mm,
Second thing I got. This is a finish this line. So I have just a random sentence that came into my mind, but it's not complete.
okay.
And it's for you to do I was going to say, yeah, off the top of the head, spontaneously complete the sentence however you want to. Or if more and more comes to you
Mhm.
until you flow. But here's this line. So finish this line. Eager is the person who.
Eager is the person who pushes forward with a tenacious mentality.
Mm,
Um, is willing to work with other people and share the process.
I love it, man. Nice. Yes, yes. Eager is the person to push forward, as well as I get hear the last part to share the process along with people too. Easy said, done, y'all. Too easy. Ah, and last one I got for you. And you already were speaking on it earlier, and I don't know. I guess again, I guess I also write from the source, because some of the things you're already speaking on in the interview, some these questions I populated beforehand, you've already were touching on a lot of stuff. So I'm just like, okay, this is just working. Hey, this is how it goes. So this last one I have for you is a scenario wisdom, however you want to end up interpreting it. But it is, if you had to choose a poem or a piece you made to create a motto that you live by, since you already make quotes, for a motto for you to live by, what piece would you pick and what would be your motto?
Negritude.
Mm,
The poem Negritude, and the poem Negritude is about how we use the word nigger uh, to describe each other, how we own it. From history, we want things to go away from history. We want, I would say we, but let's say people. Okay,
Yes.
people. Um, yeah, yeah. I don't. I choose. I just don't refer to any of my black brothers, black males, period, young, old, as niggas. I just don't refer to them as niggas. I just don't. Not in a casual way. Not in conversation with anybody. I don't. Um, I'm not here when negritude is not about to chastise people about doing it. People are going to do what they do,
Mm,
but it's just something to really think about, something to raise awareness about. It's something that I stand by, that I just don't use that word to define my brothers or my sisters, because, as you know, the women use the word for themselves as well.
yes. Mm, bars as well as gems, all of that together, y'all. Oh man. But thank you for sharing your answers, as well as, giving us that model and that breakdown of, what would you pick when it comes to that, as well as, wanting to create a cure, versus, stay on a planet forever. So thank you for sharing in on the fun questions. Hopefully they were fun for you. I know it was fun for me,
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah.
as well as to all y'all out there too. Again, if you want to go back, listen through, answer the questions for yourself, because again, this is also an interactive live, so you're more than welcome to interact. It's highly, you know, requested and suggested. All right, with that, let's get back in, and I have 5 more questions for you, and we will be done for the interview. And I know you wanted to also share a piece towards the end, so I will allow to give you time to also share the piece
Mhm.
that you would like to, as well as get to do all your social media taggings and people, all of the promoting as well. So with that, getting back into the questions, you got to speak on them earlier, but I want to give you some more time right here to tell us a bit more about all of the projects, whether if it was a Ministil, getting it getting it in over the weekend, verbal riffs, all of that together to shed a little bit more light for people to know.
Okay. So, yeah, getting. I'm gonna start with the house single. So, getting it in the lounge house single is already spinning by DJ Daryl Dunstan, also known as DJ Daryl D on Facebook.
Mm,
So, during his DJ session, he's been spinning that. Um, my cousin, he created the music for that. So I told him the sound that I was looking for,
mm,
and he put it together, the track together. Then that's when I listened to it, I told him, okay, this is what else, add this, add that, and so again, that's how this recording came about. Getting it in over the weekend. Again, I've always wanted to do house music, so I thought, hey, using my poetry and my vocals, because I also do sing. Um, I'm doing all the vocals in Men of Steel, so
mm,
I'm doing the vocals here on for getting it in over the weekend. And then the project Verbal Riffs, again. So Verbal Riffs is a full project. It's book of poetry, spoken word, and prose. Also recordings. Want to do music videos as well. Um, I can't even really say like what else is coming, because it just keeps developing and developing and developing.
mm.
Um, and I'll just decide when I'll end it. And so Verbal Riffs, Men of Steel is the first poem to come out of the Verbal Riffs project that
Yes,
is in the forthcoming book. So when I refer to the Verbal Riffs book of poetry, I want to make sure that I say forthcoming.
yes.
And also, and that's streaming on all digital platforms right now. And then Negritude is the next release to come out. And there's a friend of mine called named Karen Smith. And
Mm.
Karen Smith is a drummer, and so she's added some drums to the track, some extra drums to the track, and some extra other instruments. Went
Yes.
and recorded in the studio and did that. So again, Negritude will be coming out next. Um, the Art of True Woman. I'm actually looking for new music to re-record The Art of True Woman.
Mm.
So The Art of True Woman, if you just go on YouTube and you type in The Art of True Woman, Demetrius Ford, The Art of True Woman, it will come up, but it's going to come up under My Jazzy Soul, Volume 1.
Mm.
So if there's anyone out there that does music, if you can listen to that, and then if you think that, hey, you got a new track for me to go ahead and lay, the Art of True Woman down to a different vibe, message me. My IG is Poet Collection. So you can always just message me. And then Words are is I'm trying to decide if I'm going to actually do a recording and put Words are out, or if I'm just going to leave Words are where it is with the video, the
Yeah.
concert video that's out there, and just perform it. I'm trying to see what I'm going to do with that. But again, it's everything is into works. Um, yeah, my jewelry, poetdcollection.com. You could go and check things out. I always say, please message me if you see something you like, but it's not just what you see on the website. I like
Yes.
to make jewelry just for you. So message me. If you already know what you want, or I'll get a feel for what you may like, and then we'll go from there. So again, poetdcollection.com. All types of beaded jewelry. I really like specializing in gemstones.
Yes. I'm definitely saving up some cash because I am going to come to you because I looked and I saw a couple, if not like for some specific ones that I'm looking out for that I'm going to come your way for. So just know I'm
Cool.
coming your way soon.
Cool, cool.
Yes. I know a lot of the projects that you speaking on, as well as the tracks, the written words, as well as all that you've been recording, is honestly in this living document that you have for verbal riffs. Is there any in the future? I know it's hard to think now. Is there in the future? Is there any hopes of collaborating across with other folks, whether if it's on a particular song or like a dual collab on a poem with anybody in mind that you have? Since I know you're in the community, you've been going in and doing the lives and everything else. There's any of that to come?
I would love to do that. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, I would love to do that. Collaborate, with other artists. As I said, share the process. So yeah, yeah, definitely would love to. I've heard of vocalists and poets
Mm.
that I would like to collaborate with. As a matter of fact, I was doing a live with a group of poets, and this one poem that I did Negritude, and
Yes.
then another poet, he said that inspired him to do a piece, which was short, but it went great with Negritude. And then I have
Mm.
another short piece that I was going to use sometimes when I perform Negritude, and so I was just looking at like this whole thing would just be like a whole nice, just one well-rounded piece. If he then wrote something else, you know,
Mm.
something else, and then that would actually be a lengthy piece. So, but yeah, I'm always open to and interested in working with other artists in a collaboration.
All right. Y'all heard it here. So anybody y'all see this, whether here on Instagram or YouTube later, please reach out. We're going to have all this stuff posted later, as well as he'll let you know where else to look for and find him. So we can get this going. Um,
Mhm.
speaking of, not only do your poetry and your art, and you spoken on your jewelry making too, um, outside of all of those realms,
Mhm.
what are some other hobbies that you have that bring you joy?
So, hmm. So other hobbies that I have, I guess my other hobbies, I guess it would be work. It would be working,
Mm,
but no, I say that because it just seems like you're just doing a lot more of that, Um, so really, the jewelry making is really my hobby outside of the doing the spoken word performing, but also I would say it's also is growing the Poet collection line because there's more to come,
mm,
and so and I it's incorporated whatever I do is incorporated with my poetry. So I definitely have other things coming down the line that I'm going to be doing that will be that's new and that will be become
yes,
a hobby, but hopefully a hobby to make some money, you know, and yeah, yeah.
very true. Yeah. Okay. Again, it's definitely fun. I was gonna be like, oh yeah, you need to have like three, four, five, six different hobbies and things and stuff. It's just just interested to know what else. Because again, as you were speaking and saying too earlier on, as a child, you being able to have that the skills at first of drawing and in performance and things of that sort. So I was just like, okay, what are some other hobbies? And then again, I
Yeah.
got to go to the website and get to see the jewelry that you have up there and you're making. So it was just another, just you like, what else does he do? So,
Yeah, the jewelry business, if the jewelry keeps me making the jewelry, it keeps me busy. So trust me, I have a lot. I'm looking at a table, a big table full of a whole lot of jewelry making material, beads and everything and whatnot. And so and it's and always coming up with some new design,
mm,
So yeah, if I'm not doing that, then I'm writing. If I'm not writing, then I'm out enjoying myself. Hey, I'll own the town enjoying myself. Or I'm working. I'm at work. So yeah.
it's very important to have yourself well rounded as well as take care of self when
Yeah.
you're doing so many different creative, artistic, and financial means to help you survive. So yes,
Right.
I'm with it, man. All right, next question I got for you, and it's bringing a lot of it back together what we talked about earlier as well too,
hmm
with your purpose and the soul searching and finding what you've come to do here.
hmm
What is, and you can restate it again, get specific if not with it too, is what is your ultimate goal, or it might be goals, with your passions? So not only with your art but also with what you do with your jewelry. So what are your ultimate goals with that?
My ultimate goal is to build a brand that is a legacy,
Mm,
of mine, for my daughter, and grandchildren, to come. So yeah, they better be grandchildren, But yeah, but no, that's yeah, it's a legacy and a proud legacy to lead to build and to leave, and that's very important because art is important,
yes.
and art it's not just people. As I'm sure people heard this before. It's not just an expression; it is a way of life.
Hmm.
And so it's a way of also of sharing your light, and sharing your light into the life of others. So that's what I hope that I'm doing. Subjects, like I said, subjects like Men of Steel, which is about black men, and how we feel.
Yes.
And for me to write that, um, the feedback could have went the opposite way. Brothers could have said, "Oh no, I don't feel that way." But to get the stamp of approval from so many brothers just by you got to do things like I got one of the portable speakers,
Yeah.
and I'm up on the strip. I'm up on the strip playing Men of Steel, handing out my flyers. Like one brother said, he said, "Yo, he was listening to it, and he said, he said, I don't know what that was. He said, man, but it like brought tears to my eyes because that's how I feel." And not only that, the feedback on the response on social
Yes.
media has been great. It's been good. I haven't got not one, thumbs down. Um, I've had I just did the advertisement for it and got a couple of I could say snide
Comments.
snide remarks through the OG, what's the emoji things?
Yeah. Yeah.
Got a couple of those from a couple of races, so that's a good thing. That's a good thing because it's to the point of my work. Again, it's to strike a nerve. It's to bring about conversation.
Yeah.
You know, it's what other people are thinking, but they just don't get to say, don't know how to say it. It's a lot of poetry. It's a lot of what you're going through is what other people has gone through. But see, my poetry, when I write the poetry, is not just about me. It's about everything that I see going on. So
Mm,
what's going on in other people's lives, and that's something that always have just kind of been a peeve of mine. Is that whenever people they read a poem, oh, it had to be about me. It has to be about me. It has to be about me. And other poets have said the same thing. When they write a poem, people think it's about them. Every poem, it has to be about them. And no,
mm,
it's about things that are going on in life
yes.
and identifying and with it. And yeah, because art is an expression of
Yes.
life, you know, and life imitates art. So,
Yes. Mm, it sure does. As well
yeah,
as I like your comment earlier about how art is important, and
yeah.
I love words as well. So I was already doing the scramble in my head, and you really, actually, technically, you cannot spell important without art.
Right. I also in I use my poetry for I did a program in the youth study center, so in the youth prison.
Yeah.
I did that for 2 years, some years back. And so what I did was I took Negritude and the and was the poem that I introduced to the inmates there. But it wasn't just me. I had other poets, singers,
Yes.
visual artists. They're painters, photographers. So because you had a lot of people that were in the venues who had different talents and they weren't necessarily, poets. So this was people that I had got to know in a home venue, that I was involved with, and I ended up making a contact to with something I wanted to do. I just wanted to be able to reach the youth directly with our poetry. So besides doing events in the neighborhood, neighborhood festivals,
Yes.
um, I just had this idea to do a program in the youth prison system if I could, and it happened. And so
Mm,
I went there, and we did was broke them off. So it had males and had females. So had the females they broke off with, and they went with some of the female inmates, and then we had some of the male inmates. And when I read the poem to them, Negritude,
yeah.
and we had a conversation. We all had a conversation session first. So I read the poem Negritude, and when I read that again, just the N about being about the N word, how we call each other niggas, the young boys opened up and they said to me, they said, well, we were called that more than we were called our names. That's what many of them said. Like I was called that more than I was called my
Mm,
name. Another one, yeah, me too. I was called that more than I was called my name. It was and it opened up a lot of dialogue and they really talked about how they felt, and that's the things that I want to do with my poetry, and it's for people to understand that you can poems like Negritude, poems like Men of Steel. Wanted to go ahead. Another thing is doing that with music is
yes.
because people relate more, to content when it's put to music,
Yeah.
and so that's just I just want to be able to reach the black community with subject matter that we do talk about amongst each other.
Yes.
Black on black crime is talked about within the black communities amongst, a lot of people amongst each other, amongst us, when our friends, our groups, our families, you know, um, how we're killing each other, the murders, you know. So you know yeah, and so if rap can glorify it, spoken word is the can talk about it, on a conscious level,
Yeah.
and maybe move more people to want to do something about it, but also that people can identify with, the black community can identify with,
Yes.
and I've yeah, I've done that. So I have used my poetry to give back. That was just, and then to receive a letter with the gold seal on it from the city, that felt great.
Yes.
Um, and then to be called back to do it again,
Mm.
and because they had no issue, they had no problem. A lot of the kids in there, they're from different areas of the city and different gangs, but they had no problem. And it was a successful program, so I was invited to come back and do it again, and that's what I did. I came back and I did it again for the second time. Um, but because we've gone in homeless shelters, a lot of community events, myself and other poets have done um, to give back, to the community with our poetry.
Mm. So I just see there's a lot there, whether if it's leaving a legacy for your daughter and for your generations to come, as well as impacting current generations with your art, to be able to open up that dialogue and conversation to again address these things that are talked about within the black community and in the community as well, for people to get on board and to create unity, not only through just the art but through the conversations that are spoken, so we can build. So I see it. It's not.
Yeah.
I'm gonna affirm and say that you are doing it. There is no trying. You are doing it, because those small accomplishments and milestones are testaments to your art and your work already. So I say to that.
Yeah. Well, and I'm doing, of course, it's without without a budget.
Yeah.
So there's no underlining, self fame involved, what I mean, or anything like that. It's just, I mean, it's just something that it's like I have to do it. I have to do what I do because it's in me. And if I don't know where I would be. So I always just, say, I write so that someone will know of me, if only in a sentence.
Mm, there it is, y'all. All right, I got two last questions for you. Then after that, give you the moment in time to share your piece, as well as any last thoughts that you would like to share with others as well too. The next question I got for you, and it's a two-parter. So first one is, what are your thoughts on captivating the crowd? Because I came up with this thinking because your voice really drew me in. So what are your thoughts on captivating the crowd?
Captivating the crowd. Okay, because my voice, I'm told over and over again, my voice automatically does that, especially once I'm in performance mode. It does that. So when I open up my mouth. Um, so explain a little bit more what you mean by that.
So you've given pieces already with your voice. Is what other tools or things that you use that help you to captivate the crowd? Is it the way that you bring about with your tone? Is it the words and how you intertwine them together? Are you very harsh on certain phrases, or speak very softly on others? Or is it what you dress and how? So I'll say the whole frame of how would you captivate a crowd if you were performing?
Well, basically, it's all of that, because all that just happens naturally. So if I'm doing a piece like "Let There Be,"
Mm,
"Let There Be," I also did two Stop the Violence projects when I'm on two CDs. Stop the Violence project. Um, I live here in Philadelphia when the number,
okay.
got high, and not even as high as it is now, but when it got high. So what's on one of those is Let There Be. And so when I open up Let There Be, I open up Let There Be, singing. I open up, it's like, let there be, let there be. And then I just go into a whole, this whole note, let there, and I just go this note and I hold it and then break it down.
Mm.
So it depends. It depends. You have to know, even though you're going in a venue, you have to know how to quickly feel that audience
Yes.
when you go out there. You do. You really do. You got it. And you can do. And you can do. You can tell by their body language. You can tell by how they're dressed. You can because, and also besides the type of event it is.
Yeah.
But again, when you walk out there, yeah, there's times when I can't go out there and just go into any poem and it's just out of my head and expect to captivate the audience first off from the beginning, because when it comes to poetry and spoken word, if you're not doing it with any music and then you're coming behind, say, an act that had music, like
Yeah.
had a live band, you really have to know the situation again, feel that audience out real quick, and what piece you have and what extra talents you have that you add to your pieces,
Yes.
to captivate that audience from the beginning, because you have to captivate them from the beginning, because people have this idea still of poetry and spoken word as being boring, or actually as venting.
Mm. Mm.
And so, and if you, since my voice naturally projects,
Yeah.
if I over project, then it's like I don't want to make sure that people don't feel as though I'm yelling at them. It's like I'm
Yes.
scolding them, and depending on what I'm talking about, the subject matter I'm talking about. So yeah, you have to know, it's for me, it's tone, um, it's the situation, it's the audience when I walk out there, the feel I get from people, and yeah, and just go from there.
Mm.
Go from there. Yeah. So you got to know your work.
Yes.
You got to know how to use it to your advantage.
Yes. And I know that comes with experience, and like you
Yeah.
said, being able to fill out the crowd, and then naturally you know what you have when it comes to your skill set and you use that.
Mhm.
So I'm definitely
Yeah.
with that. Yes, cadence. Yes, yes, exactly, y'all. And shouts out to everybody that's in here. Yeah, we're coming on the tail end of the interview. I mean, this is great because then y'all get to hear some more lovely singing, as well as just powerful sharpness of Demetrius Ford, who's here with us right now for more interviews, y'all. So you're on the tail end. It's all good. But if y'all still curious to know some more stuff, you can also hit the brother up. Follow him on Poet D Collection on Instagram, as well as check out poetdcollection.com. All those other different wonderful places. The second question I have for you on that, and then I have the final one, is
Mhm.
same thing. What are your thoughts on finding your source when it comes to the connection with your life and your passions? Since we've talked about captivating the crowd, now how do you find your source when it comes to your life and passions?
How do I find my source? I find my source from, again, man. It comes from it comes from the divine, the divine God above. That's the source. It comes from in me. You know, if 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 it's not meant for me to write about it,
Yeah.
then I won't. So if it's meant for me, I will. And I write a lot of different subjects. I don't just write, basic, black poetry on black, subject matter, as far as us as black peoples, slavery. Now I write all types of poem, you
Mm,
know. So I try not to do too much of the erotic poetry.
yeah.
I try not to do too much of that. But I could say people, you have to have fun with your poetry. Have fun with your poetry. I try not to take it so serious, even when I'm performing. That if I stumble or I make a mistake, so what? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like if you keep on going, you just keep on going. You know. My source it comes from within. It comes from it's my spirit. You know. Whether I choose to write about something or if I am performing. You know.
Mm.
So yeah. But always, I try not to stress about writing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would never. I would say never stress about writing, and never stress about having a perfect reading. Every time. you know, and just let your source. Come. The source comes from within.
Mm. There it is. Appreciate y'all with the questions and also the interactions. Yes. Dope Female Trainer, if you want, you can reach out to him after in the DMs if you have something that you want to share. Again, this is opportunities where I was asking too, if there's collaborations or anybody that's interested of learning more, please go and follow and check out Demetrius Ford, aka Poet Collection on Instagram here. So if you want to, you share that there with him. I want to give this time for him to share again all of his art and the love he's put out into the universe for us to appreciate. So with that being said and transferring in, I want to take this moment before I get the last question to again thank you so much for coming on and being open and sharing your experiences, your ups and the downs, as well as all of the art and the wisdom that you share. So thank you for taking that time and
Mm.
coming.
Thank you for again. Just thank you for for having me, inviting me. I'm glad I connected with you. And this is a great opportunity, and I really, really appreciate it.
Yes, it's all good, y'all. It's all fine. I'm glad that you're in here again because you're getting to experience the brother here. So it's all love. And again, yes, thank you for being here. And to end this, before I let you go ahead and also share your last thoughts too, when it comes to life, work, music, relationships, experiences, all of that encompasses life. Is it the quality or the quantity?
Well, it's always quality.
Mm,
you know, Quality is always first. Quality is always important, and no matter what you do, what you do, what it's about. It's quality is always first. You always want to apply quality. You know,
there
you
you have
always
it.
want to strive for quality. For quality, yeah, that's what you want to produce. Quantity will come. Quantity will follow.
Mm. Love that extra piece added to that. Yeah. Again, short and sweet. There is again no right or wrong answers, y'all. It's either quality, quantity. Again, it can go hand in hand, or if you're focusing on one, it's all good. It's however you want to interpret it at the end of the day.
Yeah,
Um,
if it was quantity, then I would be again. As far as that whole stressing thing, I don't want to. I would art is for me. It's free. It's free. It's my feelings. My feelings flowing free. So I would not want to put stress on myself with my art.
yes.
And hey, I released Men of Steel last year, and again, I already had a plan that I don't expect this to get noticed, to get out there. I had a lot of work to do, so I was doing a lot of work, and we had COVID and whatnot, so I was doing a lot of work on social media.
Yeah.
You know, hey, paying for some ads, putting some ads, out there. But my thing wasn't then to release Negritude right behind it, to go ahead and then release the house single. And that's what people are saying. Oh, well, when are you going to release the next one? When are you going to release the next one? It will come. It will
Mm-hmm.
come when I get to it.
Yes.
But if it depends. If I have a plan, like I said, I have a plan for Men of Steel, and then there was the video, to follow. Hey, you find somebody to do the video. it falls off for whatever reason, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that extends time, you
Yes.
know. But when you look at the whole thing, I want people to get the quality of the message,
Mm.
you know. And like I said, the quantity will come, you know. And then I did reach over 1K views, so that's 1K people over 1K that listen to it, you know. And hey, for me, independent artists,
Yeah.
unknown, that's great, you know. And getting something out there again that either way you look at it, it is still it's what's needed in black music, and it's a great contribution to black music, you know. And I'm glad, you know, to have put it out. So again, but yeah, it wasn't like, you know, damn, now I want to put out another piece of another thing. So everybody will get to know, you know, about Demetrius Ford, Demetrius Ford, Demetrius Ford. No,
Yeah.
I want people to appreciate the quality, and everything else will follow, you know.
Mm.
What will
There
follow
it
will
is.
follow, you know.
There it is. And again, thank you so much for your time and your answers and all that you have shared. Before I also let you go and share your piece, is there
Mhm.
any other last thoughts, any last questions and things that you want to share with people, as well as plug websites, social media, etc.?
So yeah, I would say with people, you know, what's going on in the world right now. Um, it's definitely a spiritual, you know, spiritual warfare going on. And so people have to be aware of manipulators,
Mm.
you know. Don't allow other people to inflict their demons, you know, on you.
Yes.
Don't accept, that their words of what you can and cannot be. Don't let someone tell you what your life is, okay, and what you do, because people will do that,
Yeah.
you know. And you just have to be, as an artist, you have to be doing what you're doing because you like it, because you love what you're doing. Um, Don't look for family to understand. Don't look for family to be to support everything, or to support any of it. You know,
Mm.
you get into the community of your craft,
Yes.
and get to know people, and learn how to grow your craft, and come up with your own ideas of what you want to do. Don't necessarily mirror what somebody else has done and what others have done. You know, come up with your, with your own idea, um, and just put the time, the energy, and the work in,
Yeah.
the work in to be an artist that you are. And that's if you're a poet, if you're a singer, again, just don't let people tear your spirits down. You have to keep your spirits lifted up. You have to always look at and reach for the light that's inside of you.
Mm.
you know um, Put it out there to the universe, and if it's meant to be, then it will be. And hey, again, you can always check me out on IG, Poet D Collection. Facebook, Demetrius Ford is my Facebook page. My website, poetdcollection.com, for jewelry. And there's going to be more items that I'm also going to create under the Poet D Collection brand name. Um, More recordings to come. And keep an eye out and an ear out for the project Verbal Riffs. And when that book comes out, I am going to send that information out, to send that information out to you,
Yes.
and of course, get that out there on social media. And Men of Steel is streaming right now, so please support, 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 support.
Mm. Thank you so much. And with that, before I close out, this is your moment in time. a piece that comes to mind that you want to share for folks to get a little taste to hear while they go and research some more, you have the floor.
Of course, what I'll do for everyone is Men of Steel.
Okay.
Birth of life, heart beat of life, breath of life, living of life, human life. We all have a right to life. He stands before you, a black man, expected to. Let me start again.
Handle it.
Let me start again. And I apologize, but that's just something that I don't know when I'm going to have a slight blank out or anything like that.
Oh, you're fine.
So he stands before you, a black man, expected to understand and live up to the expected extremities of the civil rights leaders of their movement for the Voting Rights Act of 1965 and Civil Rights Act of 1968, including the post-Civil War constitutional amendments, proving that within a race there are men of steel. He stands before you, a black man, expected to understand the horrors of slavery and the shame of the black man's unending pain. His history, his families, sold like cattle, mind, will, spirit, and self-worth, reduced to shackles and chains that were meant to disempower one's freedom of free will. History does disgust us, yet it lets us know of a time when the Willie Lynch papers and Jim Crow laws was an accepted lifestyle of oppression and control, a time of mental destruction and genocide on the race of people. This historical recap is not meant to rub in the white man's face of a horrendous time and hold him to crimes against the lives of the black man's historical birthright. A time that did not inhale and exhale. The living breath of I look at it as a sign that says to us all, remember when? This time could abruptly rise again, and it may not be in the color of black or white skin. Famine and poverty, based on your nation, not your ethnicity, your nation. Fear tenses the spine, but not those that march and stand in the protest line under the profound signs of no justice, no peace. He stands before you, a black man, not made of steel, but made of substance, proving that he can withstand any inflicted and persistent racist pain till death parts his body and soul. The branding iron, meant to contain the fight in him, stripped topless and bottomless for all to see, the manifest destiny that would come to be. Human torture, castration, public and family humiliation, annihilation, a test of his life, the horse-tail whip that ripped open skin that heals and conceals the truth about the black man's still life force will. Keeping one's eyes on the prize was the focal point of black lives that wanted a country to recognize that black people matter and march for respect, social equality, politically for judicial fairness, and to be free from racial mistreatment and violence. After all this time, revenge and cries of being a blamed and repressed black man is not on the masses of black men's minds. However, the truth must stay alive, and the efforts of all who fought for freedom and equal rights cannot become unimportant history to a new generation. The young. Here they stand, young black men, in the new millennium, and still blatant violent acts of racial prejudice and murder versus jail time is debated on how any one of them died of a variation in hate crimes. Here I stand, a black man, in a new millennium where black on black crime is a statistical phrase and criminology on how we view our race, respect our race, live amongst others of our race, and its phrase comes under an outrageous scrutiny within our own race. Each black male is a repeated reality of historical truth. Yet and still there is a mixed race of young minds being bred on deception and guilt of what still exists. Taught to feel threatened and untrusting about the black man as a human being. Taught the American history of what it is to be feared about the black man who has always been viewed and treated as America's long-standing terrorist threat. So many times of variations, of discussions about this time of the present. There will never be an overcome for those that condone various forms of racial oppression and violent acts against the racial people for a continuing reservation for the existence of pure hate. I say racism, pure hate. After all this time, America's reason has been decades of perpetual divisive thinking. The black man, assumed angry at the world, hard and stern, his bound by steel armor is now birth grown. What is factual truth in the 21st century of time is that countries within nations will now come to realize the men of steel can really feel. It's about your black skin. Men of Steel, streaming on all digital platforms. Go check it out on YouTube.
Mm. Sit with that feeling, y'all. Eh. And with that, thank you again so much, Demetrius, for coming on and sharing not only your experiences, but sharing your thoughts, perspectives, and all that you have. So I'm grateful for it, your time, and I'm grateful for your presence. So thank you again.
Thank you.
And thank you for everyone who's come and showed support as well as came and had questions for Demetrius. And if you did, please, again, follow this brother on Instagram at Poet D Collection, as well as go check out poetdcollection.com for more on whether it's jewelry, on all other content and things to come. Verbal Riffs, as well as Man is Still, is also streaming on all platforms. Check all of those wonderful things out. And with that, y'all, as you continue to do these things and you continue to live life, don't forget to continue to write your memoirs and experiences so that you can keep growing and sharing your life. With that, y'all, we're out and we'll see you for another more interviews. Thank you for your time and we'll catch y'all again. Peace and one love, and we're out.